This is TWiT.
Let's.
New podcast that's a musical.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, Leo, this is your
I missed
next
my.
pick.
I missed my.
Wait,
book,
what? What is
chance.
happening?
I can see this.
Musical?
Oh, this is just. Is it a gimlet? It's another one of them.
No, it's
public radio people.
It's 36 questions, I think. Or is it
Stars
63
Hamilton alum
questions?
Jonathan Groff, who was a wonderful King George III. I'll be back. You'll be back. Yeah, that was wonderful. He's great.
So I'm
it's a
thinking,
narrative
Leo,
podcast about a couple working out their marital issues through song.
Wow.
we should do an entire episode in music.
Whether it's Google or Facebook or Apple, we'll talk about it, even if it's bad.
Stacey, your turn.
No. I don't sing. That's not
Wig
true. That I
the
try
musical.
to avoid.
I'm telling you, this is a fresh jolt of life into the forum.
Producer
format.
Zach Akers said there's an unlimited amount of ways to go right now because the podcast form is so young and so pliable.
No, it's old as Leo.
I used to be young and pliable. Yeah, I don't think, okay. How can you mix up the form? How do you mess with an audience in an interesting way? Absolutely. I agree with that. That's what's not just podcasts, but new media in general gives you an opportunity to break with the past a little bit, right?
Well, in musicals
It's exactly
are
the
like
opposite.
the quintessential rom-com, so having this sort of thing, like for that story, makes sense, I think.
Isn't it the case, Jeff, you're old, isn't it the case that isn't it the case that very often when you get new media, the first thing that happens is people try to take the old media and shoehorn it in? Absolutely.
We see the future and the analog in the past, yes.
And what more old school than musicals?
Musicals. I know.
Opera.
That's I'm sure there are opera podcasts. I did not mind the idea. In fact, there's storytelling podcasts. There's a great fiction podcasts. I don't mind that at all. People putting a musical in there. That's very interesting. The problem with it is the cost of production on a musical is orders of magnitude higher than just what we do.
The authorship. I haven't listened to any of it yet. You want to try a little sample?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
If you search on Google Play, they had the songs separate from the text. So if you search,
oh my gosh, you guys, think of the merchandising opportunities. How could I not think of that right away?
Yeah.
You could sell soundtracks. You could license the rights to songs.
So apparently these 36 questions are 36 questions that will help you fall in love with anybody. So that's where the name comes from. Let me see, though, if I can get the a little bit of the music. Groff is phenomenal.
If you search iTunes or Google Play for that title, the songs are separate.
All right. Here
they also
is
release
songs from Act 1. Is this it?
There's 3 acts.
Yeah, this is it. Here's songs from Act 1.
You share a lot in common with my husband, Jace.
This is Jesse Shelton. So if you just have a keyboard, I guess it's not. I actually love this idea. Here's one with Groff and Shelton.
Good.
One thing. I came out here for one thing.
I like this.
And that little one thing was to forget about you.
Ooh, that's nice.
But look at, I just want to point out the list of people involved in the production. Written, directed, and composed by Ellen Wilder and Chris Littler, produced by Zach Akers and Skip Bronke, arrangements and music supervision by Ashar, edited and mixes by sound design, mastered by engineer, sound engineering, production manager, production assistant, story consultant, percussion, piano, cello, trombone, bass. And it's well known that to produce a musical on Broadway is significantly more than producing a play. And I would imagine some of the same costs.
Well, in that case, you also have union costs, which are huge.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great thing, and I hope they can make money and make their way doing it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they doing Patreon? I don't know. I'm not sure how.
I don't know. I just saw there was a Wired story about them.
Yeah.
They did Lime Street before, which was I think a fictional podcast.
It was.
There's some great stuff going on. My mom is a big fan of something called Crime Town. Because we grew up.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
We grew up in Providence, right?
Yes.
So the first show is about the Providence Mafia.
And they come back to it a couple times.
Yeah. So she's a big fan of that. So I
love that your mom listens to podcasts. That's great.
That's a Gimlet show. So that's great. I mean, companies like Gimlet that have more money than we do. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true, but they have more.
No, I'll bet you have more revenue than Gimlet does now.
We probably have more revenue than almost anybody at NPR.
Yeah, I think we do.
We almost made $10 million in revenue last year.
And by the way, I love your openness about that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Lisa doesn't, but she's my CEO and wife. But
I think it proves the viability. When I tell people the story of TWiT in the media world, around the world, their eyes bug out.
Yeah.
And I show them the shows and I say, look at this. This is how you produce this. This is a new way to think about content and video and audio, and a new way to have a relationship with an audience, and a new way to think about, an old way to think about advertising. It's radio, right? But it works. And it's native advertising.
Though, it is different than radio in a lot of respects. We only do a few ads a show. The ads are longer than radio ads, and they're much more personal than radio ads. Our audience is more engaged than a radio audience. The ads are much more expensive, and but the ROI is equivalently high, or we wouldn't get advertisers sticking around. And we do something that nobody does. In fact, it baffles people. Lisa got an angry email from somebody the other day because he said, because we turn down advertisers all the time. We vet them and we turn them down. And he said, how dare you? He said, I'm not going to propose my clients to you to have them be turned down. That's, that's insane. I've never heard of such a thing. And so what really that points to is that the very big difference is that an advertisement on our shows, and I think this is true of most podcasts, at least if they're successful and they do well, is really a recommendation from the host and is based on a relationship
adds tremendous
with the host.
Value, which is based on the trust.
And if I accepted just anything, it would be problematic, because when somebody's unhappy with a product, they don't blame the product, they blame me almost invariably if it's an advertiser. So
Leo, not speaking specifically, but generically, what kinds of sponsors do you turn down?
If it's a product I don't like,
okay.
We regularly get requests from antivirus companies and other security products, which we turn down because I don't recommend antiviruses. It's just a variety of things. It's on a case-by-case basis. I wouldn't say it's a category. I would say it's not a category. It's just if that's a product I can't get behind.
It's a specific advertiser. So you really just look at it on a specific basis. Yeah.
Yeah. And
so it's personal.
It's personal, which is why they get upset if I say no. And it is challenging to say no. I mean, we don't want to say, well, we don't like your product, so go away. We have to say, well, it doesn't fit, or it's a conflict, or Leo uses something else, or. But anyway, the point, I guess, getting back to the 36 questions and the musical, is it's a wonderful new medium. But like a lot of what's going on in the internet, I think a lot of companies start up with no plan or desire or means to make money at it. But just the notion, well, let's just take a chance, let's try it, let's see if we can generate an audience, which is great. I'm thrilled that there's that kind of experimentation going on. But that doesn't mean necessarily there'll be, what's going to survive, what's going to make sense. I think it could be. The musical could be much better than the news roundtable, which I've bet all my money on.
Isn't there a Sing the News program? Or is that just something I've imagined in my head for all of my life?
It seems like there was a YouTube video.
Was that not a thing?
Yeah, I think it was.
Auto-tune the news is what it was.
Auto-tune the news, yeah.
Way back in the day, okay. There's...
I think that might still be around.
Oh, okay.
The Gregory brothers did it. Yeah. So here's an example. Actually, let me turn up the sound.
Size-fits-all solutions.
Boring. I hear foghorn. Boring.
Legislature override a gubernatorial.
This is an early one.
Boring at all.
I'm not feeling any romance between us right now.
You got to do it like this. Shawty, ready, set, go.
This was a pretty remarkable week on the gay marriage front. First of all, to have a state like Iowa.
So they're auto-tuning.
Not an East Coast state, not a left coast state. In a decision written by...
It's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
Those are the Gregory brothers, I think. Then there's Songified the News. He's been doing.
Oh wait,
this.
is that app that turns spoken words to song?
Thank you for sitting down with me. Were you ever bullied?
No, I wasn't.
Has it happened that somebody has done something?
This is Megyn Kelly and the president.
I try and unwound myself.
I feel like you're trying to get out of bounds.
I go hard. I go hard. If I was off, I would not have gotten this hard. I go hard. I go hard.
I'm familiar.
Yes, you are. I say, sit down, everybody. And they don't sit down. They refuse to sit down. They don't sit down. Sit down, everybody.
That's pretty good. That takes some skill.